Hey folks, Corey here. Today I'm going to take a look at the brand new HeroQuest from Hasbro and Avalon Hill. This is the Mythic tier box from their Hasbro Pulse initial launch and pre-order, which is kind of like their Kickstarter type thing, for those of you who are familiar with it. But Hasbro did just announce that they're going to have the retail version of this available now. I'm going to put a link down in the description below where you can get to that, so this unboxing will be worthwhile. I'll show you what you're going to get in the retail version, and also what you're going to miss out on, or maybe hopefully they'll add for alternates later on. Maybe they'll make them special order, maybe they'll make them available in some way, shape, or form, or you can try the second-hand market. So without further ado, let me get into this. Alright, so I had to fight with that box a little bit, but here is the core game. Alright, as you can see, with the classic artwork on it. It's quite a hefty box. That's actually bigger, I think, overall than the old box used to be. This is what you get inside. It's over 70 miniatures. This was a cool touch. They were able to get the coloration on the different models rather than having them all be the same color. That's very much like the traditional HeroQuest was, which I do have a copy sitting over here somewhere, so it might be good to get out and compare some miniatures. Alright, the moment of truth. Ooh, it's kind of a wrap. Alright, so that's cool. Looks like a set of miniatures are kind of wrapped in here. And here we are. Set that off to the side. So there's our dice. These are square plastic dice, which is too bad. The old ones were wood, but these should be fine. And here's a whole bunch of the miniatures. So the plastic seems to be kind of a, I'll hold this up here to the camera. The plastic seems to be kind of a flexible plastic. You know, it has some give to it, but you can see it, if you want to make a really good paint job, there is a little bit of mold line and flashing if you want to clean up, but for most board games, you probably won't want to kill yourself if you're going to be looking to paint these. So this is the new Chaos Warrior equivalent, I think what they're called now in the new version. Let's see what else we got in here. I'll put him back. We get some skeletons, some goblins, some orcs. These are the new femur versions, gargoyles, and the characters. It's kind of cool. This version has some female figures. So these orcs here are women, and of course the elf hero is female as well. I'll take a few pictures and throw them up here. Hopefully we can take a better look at some of these up close. Alright, so that looks like a bunch of the bad guys, including the evil wizard sorcerer. Okay, up next. This is all the terrain. Oh, the plastic character sheets. Oh, big stack of them though this time. Okay, this is all your terrain. Again, same kind of plastic, so a little bit of a... Oh, it sits alright. Here's your throne. All these stores are really good. Much better than the old paper ones. These would be all of our cards. Oh, this looks like all your treasure cards. All your spell cards, water spells, dread spells, which are the old chaos spells. So that's right, they're dread warriors now. There's all your There's all your creature cards right there. let's see, we got Dread Warriors, Abominations, Gargoyles, Goblins, Mummies, Orcs, Skeletons, Zombies, Barbarian, Dwarf, Elf, Wizard. Those are the people. Oh, a couple of quick action cards, or quick rules reference cards, one for each hero player. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, that's the whole game set there. Now the interesting thing is these doors are all open, so I wonder if there's some closed doors further on. Or if that's, nope, there are some closed doors. So there are some closed doors there and some open doors there. There is a mold line running right across the top of this, but it's not that bad. And they kind of disguise the side of it with kind of like ivy, some kind of detail. So again, if you were doing some painting on some miniatures, you might want to do something here as far as cleaning these up. But for a board game, they're obviously sufficient as they are, and you don't have to do that much extra painting if you really want to get them painted. So, okay, let's see what else we got in here. Oh, here's the board, which is basically the classic HeroQuest board. Might actually be a touch bigger. And HeroQuest is also on the side, I think, instead of on the bottom, on the long edge, which is maybe why it's a touch bigger. But the layout looks identical. We'll do a side by side here in a minute. So this is punch card. Looks like, you know, pit traps and your stairway tiles, rock traps, things of that nature, secret doors. So you do still have some cardstock counters here, which is okay. Those basically replace, you know, any squares on the game board here where you're doing your thing. So the rule book, the quest book, which is a traditional quest book. You see, and this is the DM screen, or Zargon screen as it's called. Again, this looks like it might be bigger than the old version. So that's very nice. This is the, let's check the bottom of the box here. Oh, that's it. Nothing else, just a piece of white spacer in the bottom. So yeah, it's a hefty box for this. So what I'm going to do now, this is the core box. So if you're interested in the retail game, that's what's this. You're going to get this one whole tray of miniatures, which looks like all of the miniatures you're going to need to play the core game. You get the whole tray of the terrain, which I just had out. You get the board, the books, a couple of punch cards here that are sitting off to the side. And that's everything that's in it. And again, it's all right here on the back. I'm sure they've got this all listed on their website. That is the core game. So if you're interested in that, you can check it out. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to head over and grab my Mythic version stuff, so all the bonuses and extras and goodies that I got from the Hasbro Pulse. It's going to be the next segment of this, and then the last segment is going to be just some comparisons between traditional HeroQuest and the new HeroQuest. Okay, so here's the Mythic tier bonus stuff. You got both expansions packs from the original game, which was the Return of the Witch Lord and the Kellar's Keep. Witch Lord quest pack's all about undead, and this one's all about orcs. I owned the traditional Witch Lord expansion quest pack, but I never owned Kellar's Keep, so this is going to be a new one to me, which is kind of cool. Not familiar with at all with these missions from playing them or from running them before, so that's really kind of neat. So let's take a look. And then this also is the Mythic content, so 4 hero miniatures, 18 monsters, more dice, more cards, more characters. There's some cool new characters that you can play, and then 3 new quest books, so 20 more missions to play. So it takes this game and really expands it a lot further. And it sounds like that Hasbro's announced even more. So there's a lot of good playability in this if you haven't checked it out. So we'll take a quick look at each of these expansions and then the Mythic Box. Witch Lord quest book. some additional punch terrain for certain, again, to create certain scenarios or situations. Matches right up with what was traditionally done or in the previous version. Some more skeletons, zombies, and mummies. Kind of like how the skeletons have the traditional, or harken back with their scythe back to the old. See, this guy's a little bent. Bet you these will probably warm up pretty good in some water and be able to be bent back. Some warm water maybe, right? That might do it for these. But they look pretty good. They're very durable. This plastic's very durable for playing with, so that's always a good thing. Yeah, this guy's got a little bit more of a swept scythe, but a couple of new doors. These are fancy doors. For this particular mission. New cards, which I won't bother opening right now. I am going to see if there's anything underneath. Nope, there is not. So that's the Witch Lord, and here's Kellar's Keep. Similarly, you got a couple of doors, Orcs and Goblins. So, you know, these may be coming available afterwards. I mean, this box art right here is really, you know, expand your HeroQuest game system, requires HeroQuest game system to play. So, pretty good chance if they release the core game retail that this stuff's going to follow at some point in time. They very clearly got the demand they were after. So, here's the quest book. Again, some more punch cards for the specific missions. Some more cards. And some more miniatures. I'm throwing them all over the place here. But I caught them, it looks like. Gave it a shake to see what else might be down there. Oh, I might have lost a goblin. I did. But yep, you see, that's all those guys. So more of the same, but it's cool because you're going to need those in that particular mission pack. I found the goblin, there he is. Okay, and then let's take a peek at the Mythic Box here. So I don't know if these are ever going to be re-released again. These are all might be specific to the particular Mythic tier pledgers on the Hasbro Pulse. So, because this is very specific to Mythic contents right here. So these must be some new punch cards for the new Mythic quest lines. This looks like some very cool little things. Wow, look at that. It's quite impressive. Alright, here's our 3 quest books, it looks like. Teos Abadia, Joe Manganiello, and Stephen Baker, which I think was one of the original questline HeroQuest guys. So we get 3 really cool: Spirit Queen's Torment, the Crypt of Perpetual Darkness, and the Prophecy of Kellar. So this pretty thick quest lines. They each have several quests, it seems like, in them. Some new artifact references: Quest 7. You just see here, Quest 13, Quest 14. There's Quest 14 there. Quest 10 from that one. And Quest 13. 13 quests there. So that's another 37 quests to play. That's quite a bit. Alright, some more combat dice, which is kind of cool. You can spread them out a little bit better, keep some sets out for your players, and so that'll give you 12, 6 and 6. So, you know, that's pretty good. Get some new cards to go along with the new characters and the new monsters. A couple of unique things in here. We have a couple of new artifacts. We have the new Warlock class, so we have Warlock spells. We have some Bard spells because we have a new Bard class. Some more equipment. Druid spells, because we have the new Druid class. So there's some updated cards in here. Alright, so what else have we got in here? So here's our, that must be, I think isn't there a special Zargon miniature. So these are some special things. So there were just some extra bad guys thrown in here, so that's all the colored stuff that's not red. Red guys are the heroes. So there's the Druid, there's the Bard, they called that the Wizard, so it must be an alternate wizard, and there's the Warlock. So we also have these, which is 5 miniatures and 4 character cards. And again, this is, you have all these things really well sealed. The packaging is very, very good. Okay, so these are all of the alternate sexes or alternate genders from the original game. So, from the core game, I should say. So the original game had all male characters. The new core game has a female elf, and the wizard, the dwarf, and the barbarian are male. For the mythic tier here, we got the alternate genders for all of those character classes. So we've got a female barbarian, a female dwarf, a male elf, and a female wizard. So that came in this box, and along with the Sir Ragnar character, who's down here on the left. So anybody now who's playing this game with this can choose to play whether they want to play a male or a female character, with the exception of the new additional classes. They all appear to be, it looks like this, the Druid and the Warlock are females, and the Wizard and the Bard look like they're males. That's, by the way, that's an Orc Bard or a half Orc Bard or something like that, so that's pretty cool too. So it looks like they definitely had a lot of fun putting this together. It's going to be a lot of fun to play. So that's the entire contents of the box that came with this Mythic tier. I'll take a closer look at some of the miniatures, probably do some quick side-by-sides of the new miniatures compared to the old miniatures. Alright, so I got my traditional HeroQuest out here, my original HeroQuest, I guess. And first things first, let's take a look at the boards by comparison. So that's the old one down there. See, I was right, the HeroQuest is on the bottom. And this is definitely bigger overall. So I'm going to pull the old one out, put it on top. So I'll wind it up down on the bottom, and you can see how much wider, and a little bit wider there. So much bigger board, which is cool. I mean, they probably upscaled the miniatures a little bit to fit on the new. It certainly looks like these grids are 1 inch plus as opposed to the narrow 1 inch. Here's some of the terrain to start out with here. So old and new. And you can see obviously the card stock, the cardboard they used to use, and this is all a fully cast piece of plastic now. One thing they did do, and you can kind of see a couple of indentations on here, I don't know if this is from the mold or from points to go, is you can see here the old school stuff had a hole in it, and you could put, you know, a skull in here or a rat. Well, they did provide skulls and some rats to be able to put on some of this stuff. So that stuff's in there. We can dress our little furniture up as much as we'd like. So, you know, that's a apothecary table or whatever. You know, here's the rack. You know, again, it's all solid stuff. Here's a bookcase. You know, be able to paint this up pretty nice if you want, or you can just slap some paint on it and maybe some contrast paint. Pick out the details, pick out a couple of books really quick, and off you go. And then here's just the difference in the doors too, right? You know, these are really flimsy. They started to bend, just getting put in with the terrain. These are pretty solid, actually. So that's pretty cool. Alright, where should we start here? How about some of the undead? So, mummies. So, mummies are about the same size in terms of their overall height. new one there on the left. But very clearly this one on the left is a little bit finer. The details a little bit finer. Here's your classic old school skeleton. We did a little conversion with the scythe. Again, they're about the same size overall, but a little bit more fine on the detail for this guy on the left, the new guy. Zombies have a big difference. You can see the old guy was kind of a short zombie. He carried a big cleaver, where the new one, a little bit more tall, standing tall and upright, and has a sword and shield. Let's see what else I got right here. I got the Warlock, the evil Warlock. So the new guy on the right there certainly looks a little bit more intricate. This is a Gargoyle. Now, Gargoyle seems to be a little bit bigger. His wings are off right now. I don't know where they're hiding. Let's see if I can find them real quick. So there's the two Gargoyles side by side. Again, the newer Gargoyle, the musculature, the sculpture is just, the sculpting is just that much better. The wing detail. So this guy's definitely a little bit bigger than the old guy. Very much harkens back to the classic pose. Alright, what's next? Let's keep going down the gray stuff. So here's the Dread Warrior compared to the old Chaos Warrior. Of course, Chaos Warrior is from Citadel. So for IP issues, they changed the name a little bit. Not a big deal. But still harkens to the similar style, a heavily armored dude with a big weapon. Going to the green guys now. So this is the Femur versus what's now called an Aberration. I had to look it up. Again, Femur is something that's copyrighted by GW or IP property for Games Workshop. But these guys, these Aberrations, are much bigger, much different style than the Femur. Actually, I like the sculpt. They look really kind of cool. It'll be fun to paint. Alright, what else we got here? Let's look into the Orcs. Now, the Orcs and the Goblins are really interesting because the Orcs and the Goblins, they did have a couple of different sculpts in the original game. But they're all male. So now the Orcs and the Goblins have some female sculpts. So I've got the classic Orc in the middle, the GW style Orc. It very clearly harkens to that comedic Warhammer style of Orcs. You can still see that influence in today's Games Workshop products. But you can see the new Orcs, both the female and male version, much taller, both much stockier. The men are stockier than the women here, but they have big weapons, armored, so they're really cool. I really like the way they did the Orcs. They look awesome. Pretty solid amount of detail here. Nothing fancy, but really good for a board game. This is getting borderline between what is actually a board game and what is starting to approach a miniatures game. But it's a board game, right? So, and here's our old school Goblin. We'll put him in the middle of, again, a male and a female Goblin, if I can get these guys are really small. Sizing wise now, again, they're very similar. The poses are better. They're a little less squat, a little bit more traditionally or realistically proportioned. I really like the detail on both of these miniatures now. So yeah, again, they're going to be fun to paint. And now let's look at the heroes. So before I go first, this is the difference now in the hero cards. I kind of pulled them out earlier, kind of see. So the old school hero card for the Barbarian and the new school hero card for the Barbarian. These are the same size as the regular cards for the game. All this stuff that was on this. So here's your Barbarian. So this text here now is on the back of the card, and then what's on the back of this Barbarian card is now a separate card in and of itself. Okay. So those are the cards. Now let's look at the characters. So we've got in order here. We'll start with the elf. So the old male elf is now a female elf. And again, the sculpt is just so much better. The detail on him, the face is just, it's nuts what you can do nowadays. The poses are very similar, but much more dynamic on the new model. Those are the elves. The elves. comparison, here's I got the wizard next over here. So this pose is almost identical, which is really kind of cool, even down to the flowing robe. The staff's a little bit different, the hand's in a slightly different position. Definitely looks a little bit more wizardy today. And as you can see, I never got around to painting the old HeroQuest. I want to fix that with this one. Here's our dwarf. I should probably switch these around because that axe is just going to stay in the other guy's face. Yeah, that axe is just awesome. Look at the rune on it. I mean, the old one had a rune too, but this is just really kind of cool. Good flowing beard. A little bit more, again, a little bit more dynamically posed instead of just being static and squat like the old school dwarfs. Again, like an old school GW dwarf. Really like the dynamic posing. He doesn't have a helmet, but I think that's okay for me, right? You know, his head's got a hair full of the head and locked with a ponytail kind of pulled back, so instead of the helmet being on. That's kind of cool. I like that. Okay, and then last but not least, for sure, my favorite class, the Barbarian. And again, very much the iconic pose, but also now standing on a giant rock to kind of give him a little bit more verticality, a little bit more height. Posed with an angle as opposed to straight on again. And just everything's just a much better sculpt. Good muscle tone. So yeah, it's just awesome. So that's everything here, right? You know, that's the HeroQuest unboxing, the whole thing. Back at the beginning, we did the core box. Look at some of these figures here now. What you get in the Mythic pack, what you get in the Quest packs. So everything that's available, that was available. Again, the new thing that's available now for retail is just the core box only. So all these figures I just showed you, they're all out of the core box along with the furniture and the terrain. And that gives you the whole game. So again, that'll be down in the link below. So if this video was helpful to you, please give it a like down below. Let me know if you're thinking of picking up the new HeroQuest, or if you got the Mythic tier box and you enjoy the contents or don't enjoy the contents. Was it a good buy? Was it not? For 150 bucks, I think this was a steal. This stuff's just awesome. Also, as I alluded to kind of throughout the video here, I'm planning on painting this up, unlike my old HeroQuest, which, as you can see, is still all bare plastic. So, thinking some Army Painter speed paints, or probably some Citadel contrast paints, because I have a whole bunch of them sitting over here on my desk already. We'll be using that, and I'll probably throw some videos up. Try to get through these quickly, not going overboard with details, but just enough to really make them really immersive for the tabletop when you go out and you play some games with your friends or your family. Nothing better than having kids, nieces, nephews, whatever, or even your friends or your buddies come over and enjoy the game and enjoy some nice painted stuff. You know, at least they did mold all this stuff in plastic, colored plastic, like the original game was, which really is beneficial. Gives it a little bit of variation, but just the ability to paint these, they get some good detail on them. I think the contrast paints or that kind of stuff will work pretty well out for these. So if you're interested in checking that stuff out, please subscribe down below, hit the bell icon so you can get some notifications when I post some videos on how I paint all this stuff up. Hope you enjoyed this unboxing. Know it ran a little long, but I'm pretty excited about this and actually finally getting it out and taking a look at it. So thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next video.